Hi, this is Dr. Mia Luth. It is, let me see, March 14th, 2026 at approximately, let's just say 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time, New York, USA. And my voice is a little better. It comes and goes. Some of this damage, though, is from reflux, GERD, hiatal hernia can give you a dry cough, things like that. So, great. Anyway, it's Winnipeg. It was Winnipeg Jets game day, and believe this or not, see, this is why I like to chat about ice hockey, but there's just enough of it on open communications having to do with the internet anyway, and some others. The question was asked. I went to the post-game live locker room footage. Well, I guess it's not footage, it just went live to the locker room video. And one of the questions was, which would you rather have? A team that makes the playoffs or a team that gets a high draft pick? And see, there's a third answer there. So I just typed it on up. Yes, I want a professional ice hockey club to put the best ice hockey they can on ice every single game. The best they can every single game. Okay? I totally disagree that it's a good idea to purposefully and intentionally lose in order to get a high draft pick. Now, see, there's all sorts of interesting little middle ground. Oh, well, we mean like this, and it's an ethical tank and such and such. Okay, listen. All right? It is normal. Okay, when there is zero, and I mean zero, no, 0% chance, according to the NHL and all sorts of interesting mathematicians, that says, okay, your team is not making the playoffs. When it's 0%, it is not yet 0%. All sorts of interesting things can happen in the National Hockey League, and this is why I am not on some kind of roller coaster. Okay? 40 years of this. I've seen franchises move around. Okay, I've seen franchises, yes, become defunct. Alright? If you look at the entirety of the NHL and you listen to their okay? You're all going to have to get used to the fact that this is the way the National Hockey League works now. End of story. Okay? So I know that some of the people who chat and who put their thoughts up online, okay, do actually want the Winnipeg Jets to lose on purpose. Well, that's just unacceptable. And I don't care what anybody says, but this team did it and that team did it. I'm like, do you have proof to take to a court of law? I mean, I do. But I'm not talking about the Jets when it comes to that. Okay? It is not the right way to be thinking. At all. In any way whatsoever. Okay? There are, at least 10 other teams in the National Hockey League who every freaking season come in the mushy middle. And some of them have gone on to win Stanley Cups. And some of them have become like they, come in 5th in the league or 2nd in the league. Or they're still building. And they're getting nudging closer and closer to the Stanley Cup. See, you want it the easy way. You want it the exciting way. Well, if you want the Stanley Cup, for one thing, building for playoffs may look a little different from fire wagon. Everybody's doing all this exciting shit on ice. It is, for me, it's a little bit kind of like, oh man. Yeah, they just beat the Avalanche and they couldn't get 2 points from the Rangers. This is a very wacky ice hockey season. Okay? But if you look at all the other clubs, you understand, right, we're gonna be so we end up in the middle. Okay, it's not devastating. All right, this is what I'm saying. Is like I'm allowed to say what I want to say too, and I'm allowed to be the kind of hockey lover I want to be, and I'm allowed to say, okay, devastating is a bit of an over exaggeration, wouldn't you think? All right, we get. We come in the middle somewhere and it's going to be devastating to who? You. Not the club. Because if that were true, then there'd just be a bunch of clubs who are all going bankrupt and who have to be moved and who, blah, blah, blah. Right. Not devastating. Not at all devastating. Okay, you also need to remember now, okay, Isak Rosen was Buffalo's first round pick. So we did get one. We still have guys on the Moose. Okay, I don't care. Like, I will ask those people who are, pretending to be scouts as though what the club is looking for, right, in the players in the Moose to see who's ready. Okay, for one thing, if they play well in the AHL, that does not automatically guarantee that they are going to play well in the NHL. You understand? Number 2, there are some guys who are career AHLers. And they don't mind that for a lot of different reasons. Okay? What are the 5 things, the 5 qualities that specifically the Winnipeg Jets are looking for in someone to play 2C? Second line center. See, that's the other thing. It might be a U.S. thing, but, in the States, we talk about the first line, second line, third line, and fourth line, and we don't say top 6, bottom 6. Well, we might understand equality better than some of you. Who gives a shit? See, and there's some. What are the 5 qualities? Okay, do you know specifically what the 5 qualities are that the Winnipeg Jets in particular would look for in a 2C position? Second line center. And see, for me, I'm just going to say, okay, it's not a punishment that somebody gets moved down to the 4th line, okay? I don't know who you learned from, but you learned wrong. Okay, Iafallo got moved up to the first line, then Velarde, and yes, occasionally this guy and that guy. Okay, it's not rewarded with being on the first line. Okay, I don't know where some of this vocabulary comes from, but it is incorrect, and it's leading a bunch of people to perceive national ice hockey, and I'm just going to say North American professional males ice hockey, because there's two nations involved here, and that would be, right, Canada and the U.S. But North American, all right? What? Oh, why would the coach, reward this guy for it? It's just like, why are you saying being put on one line as opposed to another is some sort of reward? Okay, like, that is some way old school that didn't work out. Okay, there's some old school stuff didn't work out. Just like the fact that there are people who actually do still think that coming in last place, which is 32nd these days, will get you the first draft pick overall. I've seen it. Some of the elders. It's not like that anymore. Okay? If a team tries and loses, okay, and they sink to the bottom, all right, apparently you get, you'll get one, two, or three. You'll get the first, second, or third. Okay, great. But not getting that is not going to devastate the Winnipeg Jets at all. And so, strategically speaking, I just disagree with you. And you can come all day long, but that's the other thing is, some of you just keep repeating, but you don't want to learn. You just want to keep repeating online. Why hasn't he, changed lines? Why hasn't he, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but the lines change almost every other game. Like, some of you will just never, ever, ever be satisfied with anything. Because it's just much easier to complain about everything than it is to take a good old-fashioned look at yourself. Okay? Some of you are also, right, just stressing these points because you have no control. You want control, but you don't have control. So, for those of you who really don't want to be riding around on an interesting roller coaster, and yes, some of you should be careful. You got high blood pressure or something, like, seriously. No, I mean this in, like, the serious way. Don't let your fandom for a team cause you, yes, like, physical distress. And there's ways to not have that happen. One is understand the game really well. But I'm not just talking about the game as seen by your franchise. I'm talking about the game as seen through the entirety of the NHL. Okay, well, if you don't, you understand, right? You got narrow vision. Very narrow vision. Okay? There are 31 other teams out there. And I along the way have known some Colorado Avs fans, and yes, I mean, they've been down the bottom a little bit. They've been in the mushy middle and down the bottom and near closer to the top. And okay, it's not known in the future. You're all a bunch of bullshit artists. Okay? Nobody knows. The end. Okay? Do you really think that, like, the Jets just beat the Avs? With injuries on both sides. But they had more of their A squad available. So why is anybody so certain that if the Jets make the playoffs and they play the Colorado Avalanche, they're just automatically going to be brutally beaten? Okay, a lot of you are wrong, and I have run across this with a variety of different National Hockey League fans and markets. There's lots who just want to just throw out all kinds of negative stuff and blah, 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 blah. And quite frankly, most of the air quote prognosticators end up being wrong. Okay? If the Winnipeg Jets can have managed, maybe the reason the Winnipeg Jets aren't playing that well is because they need a higher echelon to play against, like Tampa, like the Avalanche. Maybe they're the ones getting bored on ice. I mean, that could be the possibility too. But nobody wants to talk about that because, right, they're just people who, everyone just is such a nice guy and he just listens and this one's blah, blah, blah. And I don't care, Winnipeg. And I may be new to you, but I am not new to the National Hockey League. So, those of you who really don't like riding the roller coaster, get off the roller coaster, okay? Take a deep breath from the stomach. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1, and blow all of it, all the way out. Okay, that's just a quick reset. Just once, I'm saying. And when you really start feeling anxiety coming on, or you can feel that, you're starting to get agitated or annoyed, or any other kind of thing, right, stop. Take a deep breath in from your stomach. Hold it for 4, and blow it all the way out. Just keep blowing until there's just no more air. Okay? And then, alright, you actually can control your thoughts. And I'm too short for that roller coaster, so I don't care. Right. No, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a roller coaster. And some of you start habituating to it. And even your body chemistry starts to change, which, yes, that is a quick way for addictive types. Yes, right, your body. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you, I don't know, any gamblers out there who, like, just don't forget to ask for help. I mean, to me, it's just like, damn it. Like, we just beat the Colorado Avalanche, but we couldn't beat the Rangers. Now, I understand the Rangers are better on the road than they are at home. But, come on. I don't know. I just disagree with those of you saying, I I mean, you're just never going to be satisfied. You're just never going to be satisfied, some of you. I mean, especially the ones who are like, oh, okay, we win it, because some of us are a little more positive and encouraging and not as delusional as some of you might say. I mean, come on. How many of you gave up last season's playoffs? I don't. I did not. I left that door open for the Manitoba Miracle. You want to know why? Yeah, 40 years of watching and listening and learning. Yes, about men's professional ice hockey in North America, and then, yes, outreaching other things, and and affiliates, and there's, what do you call them, feeder, like the AHL, WHL. Well, sometimes they go over there and play in the KHL, and they come back, I don't know. Right. Yes, I'm aware that this is Ovi's last season. Right. Like, there are people over 30 who have won Stanley Cups. Okay, so the whole time you're bitching, why can't we get one of them up and get a spot? Okay, hi. Have you heard of Salamonson? I mean, it's not because of somebody on IR, but now we have extra space. Okay? But once that space is gone, okay? See, you have to understand, there are a bunch of considerations that many of you just don't plain think of, which is why you think every coach is stupid and every GM does asinine things, and I disagree. Okay? There are some who should not have anything to do with a hockey club. We can ask Tampa about that. The former, Coyotes over there. Used to be Phoenix, then Arizona. Oh, yeah, there's some. There's some along the way. Pittsburgh had a situation for a little while, okay? But they get cornered by real and true ice hockey people and get booted out. They don't last. So for the most part, okay, most of the coaches who coach in the NHL know better than 99.99% of the human public. Now, there's been a few, one who I completely disagreed with the way this individual thought in a lot of different ways. And I mean, no. I don't care if he wants to coach again. He's not going to, everybody, and I'm putting my foot down. Now, you will start to understand some things about me. You understand? You will. And you may not like it, and you may not like me, and you may not like the fact that I'm a female, blah, 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 blah. But some of you are gloomer and doomers, and you can keep that shit to yourselves. Some of us try to stay more positive. Now, in this case, this year, because of a few things that I know, pretty much not beating the Sharks and getting an extra point, and then losing to the Ducks. All right? There needs to be a Manitoba Miracle number 3. But last season, The reason why I was not thinking, oh, we're not going to make it to, we're getting kicked out of the playoffs, oh, we're losing. Why? Because I wait until the final buzzer. Every single time. So while a lot of the rest of the people, you may be in the majority, but that doesn't make you correct. It doesn't make you a lot of things better than me. Because, see, you're looking at statistics the wrong way also. There are plenty of anomalous things that happen in the National Hockey League. And I went and got a PhD on anomalous research. So some of it is theoretical physics because I'm weird. Right, it's my hobby. Although I tend toward quantum in that milieu. Regardless, okay, I am going to express myself. And I know that people who may be, like, oh, well, last year you were running around half dressed, licking spoons and... Yes, well, see, fellas, sometimes it's just too easy. You make it too easy. Anyway, regardless, too bad. Okay, because, like, unless you are paying my way through life, then I don't care what you want. And what I want is for the Winnipeg Jets to play the best ice hockey they can play every single game. All 82 of them. And no, I don't know for sure that if they make the playoffs that the Avalanche are gonna, sweep them. Or, I mean, it could go to 5, it could go to 6, it could go to 7, and there's possibilities that the Winnipeg Jets could beat the Avalanche in the playoffs. See, you all think you're know-it-alls, and you think you know, and you keep trying to pound this in. Alright, this is why. That's why I stay quiet. And I don't say a lot for long periods of time when it comes to ice hockey. But I jumped in this time. Because, oh, they don't have enough talent. Oh, they don't have enough of this. Oh, it was because Colorado wasn't playing well. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Excuses, excuses. Okay, some of you, okay, need to evolve out of your lizard brain. Okay? Also, employees these days, right, yelling at people doesn't always necessarily get you what you want. Right. Some of the elders, though, is what I'm trying to say is like, well, things are a little different now. And right. Well, I mean, it's with the fighting, I know. But what I'm saying is that for those from a certain era of ice hockey, the NHL did do something. The NHL put fight straps, made a 5-minute major. I mean, they did do something. Also, there's less being beaten about the head and neck, but, no way to when your jersey's over your head, right? Also, now you got to keep your lids on. I mean, and I appreciate teenagers and really young people in some of my hockey conversations. There's a certain maturity that you also need. So, okay, when the Jets are assessing the Moose, I'm sure that they're checking for, right, maturity on ice. Okay, physical prowess. Okay, things that they're really good at and things that they need to work on. Willingness to learn. So, those of you who are trying to say that the Jets have buried them in the Moose, and if it's some of the Moose, get jumping on saying that. Okay, take a deep breath. You too, right? And then just get a hold of your agent and have your agent talk to the club. And you can go ahead and look around the NHL. Even if the Jets didn't draft them, they've still been developing. I mean, they developed Connor Hellebuyck. Look at him, the MVP of the entire league. Scheifele is still improving. 33 does not mean they are aging old dinosaurs, like the first Mac computers that should be put on a shelf and never heard or seen from again. That's ageist. So, ageist pricks, at no point in time am I ever gonna not say something to people who are pissed off that the Winnipeg Jets win games. Okay, you're either working for the other team, and I don't know what the fuck you want, but go away, or you're mixed up in the head because it is not appropriate to even be thinking that way. Well, now there's going to be extra investigation started. And yes, protecting the shield doesn't mean covering things up and lying and acting like shitbirds. That's not what that means. Yeah. Hollywood doesn't run the National Hockey League, by the way. Stay inside your lines. Also, the cowards who have been manipulating some things around me and so on and so forth. Yes, I do think you're cowards, and I'm saying it out loud. See, my name is Dr. Maria E.G. Luth. The original German pronunciation of it would be Lut, but Americanized, they took out the umlaut. I'm 54. I exist. I understand reality much better than most. And somebody should have been paying my fucking way.